Dear Diary, have you ever had a relentless voice in your head? Nitpicking every little thing from what you thought to what you did? Tearing you down? Little by little? Constantly comparing your body to other girls you walk by on the streets, see on social media, or at school? Well, I did. I sometimes still do. There was a time I obsessed over being perfect. That time being my freshman year of high school. I was a 14-year-old girl, straight-A student, with walls for parents. Well, not really, but it felt like it because they were never there for me. They critiqued the only thing they could at the time, my appearance. And mind you, it isn't like I was unkept. I just simply didn't focus my attention on my image. I tried to disregard what they said, telling myself that what I work for is enough. Not getting a phone until high school helped with not caring about my appearance. I didn't feel the need to have a phone. I had everything I needed, right where I was. My best friends, my books, and constantly studying to stay as the top student definitely occupied quite a bit of my time. I was excited to go to high school and experience the multiple challenges of AP level courses. A girl gets bored when she only has herself to compete against. It was my first day of high school, and I felt confident stepping into this unknown building. I immediately spotted my best friend, April, in the sea of wandering kids. I walked up to her and soon realized she was accompanied by our good friend Keith. Good morning.
Morning! Did you check your schedule yet?
Of course. Come on, it's me you're talking to.
Yes, our favorite goody two-shoes.
What? I'm not a goody two-shoes.
Ignore him, Grace. He's just joking.
Oh, well, why don't we use the time we have to walk our schedules before the assembly starts?
Yes, please. I'm going to get so lost if I don't get an idea of where to go.
Psh, you're just gonna get lost regardless. What? Just telling the truth.
We walked each of our schedules together, exploring this massive building we now call our school. April and I were ecstatic when we found out that we both had English and math together. Sadly, Keith and I didn't share any classes, but he and April were happy to know that they could rely on each other for company during gym. While we visited my biology class, a guy with ebony hair caught my attention. I tried not to stare, but when he turned around, I found the pretty set of blue eyes staring back at me. I just couldn't tear my attention away. I admired his sun-kissed skin and the way he smiled. Then, I noticed a crowd of girls surrounding him. Stay focused, Grace. High school is important for college. You can't afford to get distracted.
Grace, are you ready to visit the next class?
Huh? Oh, yes, let's go.
What are you staring at?
What? I was just admiring the cabinets of the lab equipment.
Typical Grace. And I let myself think you were staring at Liam because you got sucked in by his charms.
A boy? Whoa, back it up a bit. Where? Grace never gives any boy a thought, nonetheless a stare.
Hi. Hello. I'm a boy as well. Being her friend, I hope she occasionally thinks about me.
Oh, you know what I mean. As in, liking somebody?
Guys, I wasn't staring at anybody, especially not a boy.
Uh-huh. Look at you. Your cheeks are red.
What? No, they're not.
Here. Was it this guy?
I was shocked to see the same blue eyes looking at me through the screen. How did Keith know who he was? I didn't respond, not wanting to confirm that he was correct. But it didn't matter, since April was already fangirling over the fact I possibly liked somebody.
Wait, Keith, how did you know his name?
You guys don't know who Liam Ryder is? No way. I know Grace has never laid eyes on social media before, but I thought you would know who he is.
I have never seen that man in my life. Why? Is he a famous TikToker? No way. What?
What's the big deal about TikTok? And why do people get crazy over somebody slightly famous on TikTok? I don't get it.
Oh god. It's like, girl, being famous on anything is huge! Also, now that you finally have a phone, please remind me to get you caught up on all social media. Now, wait, is that why he has an insane amount of Insta followers?
Yeah. Did you just think his follower count was normal?
Well, I don't know. He could have been one of those popular kids.
I mean, he is popular, but it's also because he blew up on TikTok last year. Oh, and he recently transferred here. All the kids were talking about it in the big group chat. Ooh, yeah. You aren't in the group chat, and you didn't have a phone till now. Well, at least we're all updated.
Shoot! We're going to be late. We can continue this later. Let's go. Later that day, after school ended, I went over to April's. Well, more like she dragged me, since she insisted on getting me acquainted with all the social media platforms. She helped me set up an Instagram account, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, you name it. I hadn't realized that many apps existed, nor had any ideas as to how to navigate any. April kept bugging me about Liam, and even forced me to follow his socials after I hinted I may have an interest in him. When I got home, I scrolled through Instagram and found myself coming across numerous posts of pretty girls. I glanced at the comments and noticed various people praising her clothes and body. I've never seen somebody described so objectively. I ended up scrolling through her account for a while, admiring her image. When I scrolled up, I noticed that it said Liam Ryder followed her. Come to think of it, it said he liked quite a lot of her posts. I wondered if it was because he knew her. Or maybe he likes her? I think April did mention people often follow random people they like. Whatever, I shouldn't care. Get it together, Grace. For the next few weeks, I tried to suppress my growing feelings for Liam. It didn't help that I could see everything he did, since he posted about basically everything. I was slowly falling for a guy I didn't even know. One morning, when I walked into school, I was surprised to find Liam and Keith talking. I walked over to April as I stared in shock.
I thought I mentioned that Keith and Liam have been chatting a lot recently in world history. Jealous?
I never even confirmed whether I liked him or not.
Oh, come on, be honest with me. There's no way you don't at least have an interest in him. I can tell you get nervous when you're near him, and you interact with almost every one of his posts. And I'm talking TikTok and Insta, so don't you dare lie to yourself.
Well, okay, I may possibly like him.
Well then, what are you waiting for? Go talk to him.
What? Why would I talk to him? What would I even say?
You could start with introducing yourself for one.
Okay, but wait. How did you say Keith and Liam started talking again?
Changing the topic, I see. But it honestly wasn't anything special. Probably Keith just being Keith. You know how extroverted he can be.
It's true. I sometimes envy Keith's confidence and ability to socialize with people. And he's confident in himself. Unlike me, I'm confident in my abilities and skills that I've worked hard to polish, but not myself.
Hello? Earth to Grace? She does this sometimes.
Huh? Did I space out? Oh, hi. I guess I'm more tired than I thought I was.
I'm always like that in the morning. Don't worry about it. Hi, I'm Liam, by the way.
Oh, hello. I'm Grace.
Well, hello, Grace. Nice name.
Thanks.
Well, while you were spacing out a bit, we mentioned how we should all hang out. Liam's cool, and I wanted him to get to know you guys a bit better, seeing that you are my closest friends.
Wow, dude. I thought we were close. Means a lot.
Come on, man, you don't need me. You've got all those pretty girls to cry on.
Sure, they're pretty, but some are insanely clingy. You want one? I can introduce you.
Nah, I'm good.
Well, Liam, do you happen to prefer smarter girls?
I don't mind if they're smart. I guess it just kinda depends.
Depends? What does that mean? Maybe he does prefer pretty girls. Does that mean he won't like me? Wait, stop these thoughts, Grace. You just met him. Why don't we arrange the hangout later? For now, let's head to class before the bell rings.
Sounds good. I'll add you guys to the group chat. I'm gonna go now. See ya.
Same here. I'll see you later in English, Grace.
Bye!
Grace, what class do you have first?
Biology?
No wonder you looked familiar. We're in the same class, right?
Oh, I guess so.
Why don't we walk there together?
Well, since we're going to the same class, I guess that would make sense.
You're funny, Grace. You're different from other girls I've met.
What does that mean? Is that a good or bad thing? I looked up at him as we walked. He's even cuter up close. We walked down the halls in silence. I didn't know what to say or how to make small talk. Should I even try talking to him? I think I've come across a few of your TikToks.
Oh, which ones?
I guess the popular ones? I don't really know.
Well, there are quite a few of those. Wait! OMG! I never asked for your socials! How rude of me.
You want my socials?
Well, we are friends now, right? So why not?
He already thinks we're friends? Is he like this with everybody? He looks genuinely sincere, though. We ended up chatting the rest of the way, and he was surprisingly easy to talk to. Over the next couple of months, Liam started hanging out with our group more and more. At the time, I wasn't completely aware, but I had also found myself spending more time on social media, often scanning the comments under posts of pretty girls that Liam followed. My brain seemed possessed and obsessed with anything relating to Liam. I became attuned to every comment he said, good or bad. I don't recall when it started, but I began to feel ugly. I would stare at myself in the mirror and critique my imperfections. So I decided to start a diet to feel healthier and lose a bit of weight. It appeared to be quite common since I occasionally overheard some girls at school discussing the topic. I started noticing results, and Liam did as well.
You've looked kinda different recently, Grace. I feel like you've gotten prettier.
She's always pretty, Liam. You look tired, though. Don't stress yourself out, okay?
I appreciated Keith's concern, but I've honestly never felt better. Maybe what I was missing from my life was some attention to my appearance. I started associating my figure with my success. I felt lazy and like a failure if I didn't work out or follow my diet. Subconsciously, I started counting the calories I consumed, keeping tallies on how much I eaten for the day. Everybody else seemed to do it as well. Online, I would find comments stating their current diets and the calories it contains. Even when I felt like eating more than my diet suggests, comments saying they haven't eaten made me stop. I would see people state how long they haven't eaten, and it made me feel frustrated and disappointed in myself for wanting to eat. There was a constant urge to do better, be better, look better. I slowly stopped interacting with my friends, even Liam. Obsessed with perfecting myself, constantly feeling like I wasn't doing enough. At some point, my grades began to drop as well. This got my parents' attention. They started lecturing me on how I'm failing and not doing anything with my life. I wanted to scream that I was working on the part of me they always critiqued, but some part of me held back. I fell into a constant routine. Wake up, work out, school, eat a bit, work out, eat. April and Keith got worried, so they tried talking to me, but I just ignored them. One day, I was called down to see my counselor. They mentioned how some of my friends were worried that I may have an eating disorder, and that I should go talk to the nurse and my parents. I barely heard what she said, Because I was furious with April and Keith. How dare they go to my counselor and claim that I have an eating disorder when I'm perfectly fine? I went up to them after school and started yelling. Why are you guys spreading lies about me? Can't you see that I'm fine?
Grace, don't be mad. This is to benefit you, alright? We tried talking to you multiple times, but you never listened. We just want you to get help so you can get past this. We've been really worried, Grace.
Benefit me? Yeah, right. That's funny, April. There was nothing to get past, and I most definitely do not have an eating disorder. If anything, I should lose a few pounds.
Grace, you're not serious, right? You've gotten so thin within the past few months. Your grades are dropping, you don't talk to anybody, and you barely eat.
Keith, stop making a big deal out of nothing. People's grades drop sometimes, and everybody diets these days.
This may have started off as a diet, but it isn't anymore. Please, Grace, please, get help.
I don't need help.
Look, I didn't want to do this, but you need to see this. This is you before, and this is you now. There's no way you can tell me you don't see a difference.
Well, there's a slight difference, but isn't that normal? As people grow up, they change.
This is different, Grace. You're weaker, thinner, and look at your skin.
Whatever. I've had enough. I'm gonna go. The next following days consisted of the same routine I developed, but I occasionally thought about what Keith and April said. Was what they said right? I used to obsess over my achievements, but now I obsess over my looks. But isn't my appearance an achievement as well? On our annual field day, I was told that I had to compete in a relay race. Recently, I've been feeling fatigued and weak, but I didn't want to tell my friends. Haven't talked to them in a bit. I mustered up all the strength I had and started running. I started out well, but soon enough, I found myself falling behind. I tried picking up the pace, but I felt like I hit a wall. My vision blurred, and I felt myself falling. I was scared. I couldn't see. The world went black. My ears were ringing from the fall. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in the nurse's office surrounded by Keith, April, and even Liam.
You're awake! Oh, you don't understand how scared I was, Grace.
Don't you dare say you are fine.
You guys were right. I'm tired of this taking over my life. I'll try to get help.
Don't worry, okay? We'll always be here for you, and help in any way we can.
Liam and April nodded in approval. Soon enough, the nurse rushed everybody out. She explained to me the various psychological factors in an eating disorder and referred to a few doctors. She informed me that she called my parents and pushed them to arrange for me to receive professional help. In some ways, I felt relieved, but I recall still being angry. A part of me wanted to claim there was nothing wrong with me. I decided to meet with a professional to survey how I felt. They diagnosed me with anorexia, explaining to me that it's an eating disorder characterized by a distorted body image with an unwarranted fear of being overweight. I found them to be incredibly understanding, and they even provided details on eating disorders support. It felt as if a weight was lifted off my shoulders. Road to recovery is not straightforward. It was rough, and it still is. It's been 2 years since I was diagnosed with anorexia. I'm now a rising senior in high school. I came across this website that is a safe place for people to share their struggles and decided I wanted to add mine. To anybody reading this, please know you are not alone.